And the rulings are also drawing reaction from Georgia's top legal advisor. Attorney General Sam Olens released a statement today saying in part, quote, "Today's decision rests on the basic assumption with which I strongly agree that the power to define marriage is a power traditionally reserved to the states. The definition of marriage adopted by Georgia's voters is unaffected by today's decision." Now, joining me now to talk about Georgia's law banning gay marriage and its future is State Representative James Beverly. Thank you so much for coming on the show,
Sure,
Representative Beverly.
Sure.
Let's start by talking about our law. Now, in 2004, Georgia voters passed an amendment to the state constitution. It recognizes only marriage between men and women, and it defines it as that as well, and then it bans same-sex marriages. Now, if a lawmaker or an individual wanted to maybe challenge that statute, how would that process work?
Yeah, so it generally worked the way that most laws work in the state, and that is that a legislator would have to bring it before the General Assembly. They would take it before a committee, and you would have to get roughly 91 votes. Once it passed in the House, it would then go to the Senate, and you would have to get a majority plus one, which would be 24 votes. And then the governor, if that all happened and there was no changes to the law or to the bill, then it would go to the governor. The governor would sign it, and it become law. Given the conservative nature of Georgia politics, I doubt very seriously that those 91 votes exist, and more importantly, that the Senate has a taste for, or the governor, especially given the fact that next year is going to be an election year for a lot of state House seats and for the governor's seat.
Now, you sit in the House of Representatives, and you see the climate there right now. You mentioned next year is an election year. Will we see a big shift? Will the Democratic Party, maybe take some of those seats and get those 91 votes, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think there's always going to be a move. I think what the Supreme Court signaled to the rest of the country is that, look, we're in a different era. Yesterday with the Voting Rights Act, Texas on Monday, today gay rights. It's a very organic situation that's happening in democracy right now. And I think over the next few years, you're going to see different opinions come up, and we're not going to continue to fight the same cultural warfares. I think we're going to start fighting different wars about economic development and so forth.
And, from a lawmaker's perspective, you mentioned a couple things there that we're moving in a new era. Where do you feel the shift is going to begin? Do you feel maybe Georgia is one of those states that's going to start moving?
Yeah, I think that Georgia has the potential to move just because of the demographic shifts. I think with, over the next few years, you may take a look at North Carolina, you may take a look at Virginia, some of the more progressive states. Georgia is really a very progressive state in some respects. In some respects, it's very conservative. But as the demographic shifts, I think that Georgia is going to start to attract people who are drawn to the political process because they realize that politics plays a role in everything. And I think we're going to have more progressive thoughts come through over the next few years.
A lot of interesting thoughts you brought up there. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing with us.
Sure.
State Representative James Beverly, always good to have you on.
Thank you.
And if you want to weigh in on Georgia's marriage laws or any of the Supreme Court rulings, head to our Facebook page. That's facebook.com/41NBC.